live from the cold-blooded clubhouse. I finally got the invite. Thank you for having me, guys. We have two of the offensive stars, Jack Abady and Sammy Tawil. You guys, if you add up your stats, I mean, it's totally ridiculous, but you're talking MVP caliber years from each of you, believe it or not. So, I don't know which one is more surprising, coming off major surgery, or, no offense, Sammy, it's actually a compliment, at your advanced age. You're not exactly in the prime of your career, although you think you are.
No, I'm 54 years old, and to be honest, I'm even surprising myself a little bit at this. 54 years old, I mean, age doesn't lie, but I've been playing really well. Jack Abady, to me, if he's healthy without that, he's I think, in my, Zach Ashkenaz, you can make an argument, but I think Jack Abady is really a complete ball player, might be the best player in the league. Him and Zach Ashkenaz, probably top two. Maybe Joe Greenberg's up there, but pound for pound, this guy, I've been on his team for the last couple of years, before last year, and if he don't get hurt, he's the first, second pick in the draft, by far. He's just a great player.
It's amazing because people were surprised when Eshko made that pick for you as the 9th overall pick, right? If you remember. And they said, wow, Jack coming off injury, maybe without the injury, maybe. And now it's with the injury, but you're hitting the ball. You almost had 3 home runs today.
Yeah.
In a must-win
Probably the
week.
best one I hit was the one out.
Yes, although the one that they made out, the guy Shimmy made a phenomenal play in center field, and that was a bomb. I mean, the ball is coming off his bat like really laser. Even his outs are like fly outs, and he's just hitting the ball. He's seeing the ball great, and it's just a treat to watch. I mean, the guy's a tremendous player.
By the way, you mentioned this guy Shimmy. He's having a year. Like, he really elevated his game. Where we heard when he was coming to the league last year how good he is, and he was good the second half last year. This year, he's like a major reason why that team is where they were. They had a rough day today, though. But first, let's walk around the league for a second. Let's walk around the
all
league.
the teams.
Yep.
Yes, you've
Now
seen everybody now. That's right. That's right. Where do you want to start? Which game?
I would start with the team today. I mean, we just saw them.
Yeah.
And, little bit of a probably not their best effort.
Right.
But I'll tell you, game 1 was a very close game, 4-4 in the 5th or 6th, and they had no easy outs in that lineup. I was pretty impressed with that game 1 win by us. I felt like if we could beat this team, this is the team that they took swimming. They played swimming the best so far. Led both games late.
Yes.
Look out. They're looking like they need to look out, because they don't seem like they're closing the season the way you want to close the season. So going into this week, the ones who knock might have been maybe the favorite.
I was all in on the ones who knock. I had them sweeping you guys, by the way.
Yes.
I had them as a runaway train all of a sudden clicking at the right time. Maybe they got gas today from the confusion. We're delayed, it's raining, but we're playing again.
Early in game two, Hannon took a comebacker off his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at his fingers, his nails bent backwards on 2 fingers. And we started to hit him at the same time. And they started to John made a bad error. Ball went under his glove. It's a play that he doesn't make.
He
gave us an extra, he gave us an extra run in an inning where we were 2 outs, nobody on, and we got 2 more runs after it was 3-2. We made it 5-2. And, they kind of let the game get away from them that second game for sure. A couple of guys were looking at the clock. A couple of guys all of a sudden started making excuses about the weather and the grips on the bat. But I think for, 1 game and 3-4 innings in the second game, they were competitive and they were into it. And then, a couple of things didn't go their way, and they weren't really, the mental toughness that it takes to, not only battle the team, but battle the elements and all the things around them. They kind of, a lot of the breaks got to them, I think, a little bit. And I don't think that's really the team they are. I don't know if we want to face them again, because their lineup is 1 through 9. It is the strongest lineup. I think maybe we have the best 1 through 6. And I think that our 1 through 6, led us to, leading the league in hits and runs and slugging.
I want to go through your 1 through 6 in a second.
They're a great team. One who knocks out of all teams we played. They are a deep team. The Shimmy, this Nussi. They got John. They have a complete. Like you said, they have a long lineup.
Mavora,
We were speaking early in the week when Norman picked them to sweep us, and I said the one thing I said Ralph Hannon is a great regular season pitcher.
He was great. He was MVP on my
And
team.
today almost felt like game 2 was a
Yes.
playoff game for them. Because they didn't know, and I've been the year that the Untouchables won.
Yes.
We were one of the worst teams. We maybe made it 7-7. We were 1-7, but the Colorado Rockies were the best team.
Yeah.
That was Sammy Tawil.
That's right.
Ralph Hannon
and
What a
Ralph
team that
Hannon-
was. You guys should have won the whole way.
And Ralph Hannon was their pitcher, and he had a rough playoff game. So I think it's almost what Leo got over the hump last year.
Yes.
Ralph has to prove that he can take this team because they have the offense. But in the playoffs, we know those games are, what swimming's built this whole season, winning 3-1 and winning 2-1. That's what kind of those playoff games where, especially now it's one game, they're playing one game this week.
Yeah.
You can't rely on scoring 6 runs. Are they going to be able to win a 3-2 game with Ralph Hannon on the mound in a playoff game? I want to see it. I think
Very great point. Very, very interesting. You mentioned the Untouchables, and my brother Joseph, the whole One More Time team came to watch the end of your game. Your game was the last one. And I told him Abady had himself another day today. 2 homers, or this, or that, whatever. And he said right away, he goes, this is reminding me of the Untouchables again, where it's just a team that was mid-tier. You guys ended 7-7.
Yeah.
But the league has taken notice of cold-blooded now. How did it change so quickly in this league?
Well,
But everyone is like, oh my God, if cold-blooded gets past Friday's game or whatever it is, who wants to face them?
There was a play in game 2, I think you might have it on video, where it was 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and a guy hit a low fly, line drive to Solly Powell in the outfield.
Yes.
And he made the play, and Marty Anthony was on 3rd, and on the contact, he broke off the bag. And he did go back and tag. But when the throw came in, it was like 12 guys synchronized
Yeah.
with he left early, and we were celebrating, walking off the field, trying to sell it, and he didn't sell it. The umpire called him safe, he left on time, whatever, but just that moment, we're talking about it in the chat, like how we were all on the same page,
It wasn't rehearsed.
wasn't rehearsed.
I have it on video.
Yeah.
It looks like you guys all said, all right, let's do that thing we spoke about.
Even the umpire goes, no, whoa. No, he left on time. He
It
did
was hilarious, but we're going to ask you guys not to do that here, because if that causes
You're
the
right,
playoff
you're right,
game,
you're right.
we're dead. We're all dead if
you're
that
right,
happens
you're
in the playoffs.
You're right.
Okay, fine. So let's talk about your lineup. And then I want to talk about the D, because in the beginning of the year, I wanted you in the infield, but now I see what's going on with your team. Wherever the ball is hit is where you're playing.
Yeah, no,
Fly
but
ball to right, he's there.
You said it right. You said in the beginning of the year, I watched you, and you said, you know what? I think the best team would be Jack Abady, short center.
Yeah, but you
Solly,
signed him right
right,
where
with
he
a natural
belongs.
right fielder. You got DK, and then you got Jakey.
Jake.
And you were right about that. And the truth is, once you made that change after the first week, we never looked back. He's been doing it all. He's been short center. He goes for outfields. And we're just a better team.
I think it almost, Steven Shalhoub kind of laid the blueprint for this position.
Yeah.
Is that how short center can be a game changer if you're able to turn those double plays and
Play next to the shortstop.
Play next to the shortstop, and then the next dimension is I am comfortable in the outfield. So when the big hitters come up, going out and playing the outfield, it is, and I think it's just. Our team was really built that way. A lot of time, in my head, I wanted to play center field because I wanted to prove that I was healthy. So I think by playing the infield, it could have been like, oh, maybe his knee's hurting
Right,
him or
maybe he
something.
can't move.
So I wanted to play the outfield, but the way the draft laid out, I told Joe from draft day, I think we have 3 really good outfielders, and I can play the infield. I know I can play the
You have the
infield.
luxury, you have the luxury.
I grew up playing the infield, so it's really what's best for the team. And it's almost even another thing with the Untouchables. I played most of the season, I played third base for that team. Because we had DK, Joe Chira, and A.B. Dueck.
Right.
And I was playing the outfield, and then I moved to third base, and then A.B. Dueck broke his ankle in the semis, and I went to the outfield I played right field in that thing. So I think that my flexibility is a weapon that this team can use. And with Solly Tawil in right field, we're not losing
anything.
speed or anything.
The regular outfield, they
So
make you
it
plays,
really
make plays.
rounded out our defense.
Yes.
And gave us a lot of confidence. And I think
Eventually,
that
second base, he's playing phenomenal.
Leo throwing strikes, and he did today, is the key for this team. I think that our defense and our offense will do enough and make teams get 3 hits. And you know what? If they don't score 4 or 5 runs in an inning, that's what hurt us with DX last week. We gave up 1 inning where we just fell off the rails. Today we were focused. If we're giving up 1 to 2 runs when they score, we're tough out because we'll score enough.
Our team is built, like you said, a championship team. Why we're 7-7? I can't answer. We underachieved. I think we underachieved.
Slow out of the gate.
Slow again. We never won.
And then still never clicked.
Everyone kept saying cold blood. Okay, after a while, I said, guys, we are what our record is.
Right.
So you want to talk about cold blood and how great we are and all the Hall of Famers and All Stars? Great. But at the end of the day, we're still 5-7, 4-6.
Yeah. By the way, a lot of young guys on your team that never really saw you play are realizing what kind of first baseman you are now.
We all saw the stats from the 80s. He sent the clippings early on when he thought the first triple was a fluke. He was sending the 80 stats, but now it's becoming. He's going to start sending 2,000 stats to the guys in 20 years from now when he still plays.
That's crazy. But our infield is great. I think we have a great infield. I was supposed to be splitting with Raw Dog, and I feel bad a little bit because, he came into the year expecting to play, and he's rightfully so. And he picked him pretty high, actually. And then after the first week, Jack came and said, "Hey, you mind game 2? You're going to sit?" I said, "My pleasure." I sat with his dad, and we watched the game. By game 2, we're 0-2, and we needed some urgency. I ended up playing, and I think Raw Dog said, "You know what? He is the right guy. As much as he wants to play, he's been a consummate teammate. And he's been cheering us on, and I've been playing first ever since. And if we can try to get him in, I'd love to get him in, and he's just a great teammate. So our infield is great. Hank at short, Hank at third, and Ishko.
And having Raw Dog buy in, because that was a big thing. At 1-3, we were having conversations. What's best for him? Do you want to be traded? Because we picked you to play. We thought you were going to be able to play. And then with the 5 teams making the playoffs, I feel like it's like the MLB season, 60 games. Everyone's, kind of
every game is big.
Every game is very, very important. We were 1-3. Sammy's having the year that he was having from the start. We wanted his defense and we wanted his bat in the lineup, and we think his bat is even better when he's playing defense. So, Raw, what can we do for you? There's teams calling us, they want you.
Yeah.
If that's, we don't want to hold you. And he said, I want to be a part of this team.
Wow, because Raw would play on other teams.
Yeah, he said, I want to be a part of this team. I know the guys on this team. I feel that this team has the mojo. And he's kind of been, that spiritual leader. The last 2 weeks, we leaned on him, that voice. And, the howling and all that stuff to really galvanize. And we've played a different brand of ball the last 2 weeks. We split with DX, but we had both those games.
I want to talk about DX in a second. Okay, and we're back. You mentioned DX. Max Sutton, Jackie Sutton, who's the star of that team right now. What a third baseman. What a catcher he is.
12th round, right? 12th round pick.
Basically a 10th, 11th, something like that.
Yeah, future star.
We got beat up.
Allowed them to trade for Sabah. Once they had a third baseman, they could trade away, Saul, and they could trade away Gabe, Mark, and all these guys to get.
They made the big trade after the pickup, and it allowed Jackie.
But you know what? It is what it is. That's the team that they have now.
That's their team right now, exactly.
They have to win a game, but they're a very good team, and they have the veteran leadership. I love the Max and Eddie Michon leadership.
Yes.
Yeah. They're both very good at something. It happened against your game. A ball went out of play when Joe Eshko was hugging third base. He wasn't moving to score. Right. He had a triple. He was staying at third. He was pounding third base. He was pumped. Ball trickled out of play, and they gave him a home run. Maybe a questionable call or whatever, because apparently they went over the ground rules. Max argued. 2 seconds later, he screamed at his team, "That's it. It's over."
He handled it great.
And Michon's the same way. No nonsense with this guy, as we
know.
And they bat right after each other in the order, and they got 2 big hits in that later in that game, and it was 4-2. Max got the hit to make it 4-4, and Eddie got the hit to make it 5-4. So they're the veterans. They know the game, and they can they have a very interesting squad. I thought that their offense was a little bit light. I think they have a very good defense with Jackie Sutton playing third, and Max playing where he's playing, and Gabe. They have a really good infield and an outfield defense. And their pitchers are good. I think A.B. Cohen, it's going to be interesting to see who they pitch in this one game.
Very interesting.
I don't know how you don't pitch A.B. Cohen.
He's a veteran. But the Cohen kid,
Cohen is an upcoming star. It's a nice, interesting.
He's going to be a great pitcher. He's going to be a good pitcher.
And it's a one game. It's you only have to play one. So I think
that's interesting.
A.B. Cohen's been showing up late and pitching game 2 every week. But I kind of feel like he may be their best shot. If I wouldn't want to face him in a one game necessarily.
I put the veteran. I put A.B. Cohen because he's a veteran. It's a different ball game.
But today, what were their games today? Because they swept Lookout, and I really thought, I was on the other field, and I just kept seeing DX celebrate. but I didn't know the score of the game. I was like, there's no way. Maybe they're celebrating like it's close game. There's no way they're gonna win this game too. How could they be beating the Steel Lookout with all the stars and all the names Lookout
It's
has?
amazing to see they've won
How did they
3
win
games in a
those
row.
games?
3 must-win games in a row.
Yes.
The game 2 against you.
They're down.
2 games today. They needed every one of those games, and suddenly they're 7-7. They were 4-7.
I saw they threw out a guy at the plate. I saw that from when I was peering back.
Both games were pretty close. DX, I think, went up 4-1 early. Then they Lookout came back to 4-3 late, and then DX immediately responded and got the game to 7-3.
Wow.
That was the final. And then in game 2, very, very interesting, DX was up 5-2 in the 6th inning. And Lookout, 5th or 6th inning, Lookout came back and tied the game at 5. Sal Dweck,
Really?
a home run that tied the game. Go figure with Ali,
wow.
Shalou,
Right, all his names.
Sal Dweck hits the home run, ties it at 5, but then right back, boom, they responded immediately the next half inning, and they won 8-5 or 7-5 or something like that.
Big wins, big
Look
wins.
out.
They're a hot team going in, and you want to say like the hot teams,
They're hot.
They're pretty hot, and the ones who knocked aren't. So they better regroup because it's a 1 game and out.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an interesting matchup.
So who's
that I
playing in
can't
the
wait
one
to
game?
watch.
Who's playing?
Those are
So
the two
first
teams.
we have a game for the 6th seed. You have
5 seed.
DX and the ones who knocked to be the 5. To be the 5.
Right,
That's right.
Right, to be the 5.
To be the 5. And then they have to play you guys in the 4 just to get in to face the 1 swimming. Right. Okay, swimming today.
It's a hard road.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. By the way, 2 years in a row we've had the craziest finish
Yeah,
of the
whatever.
last
It's
week
great.
of the
This is
season.
why
A lot of
Very
parity.
good.
You know, there's a lot of parity this
It's
year.
amazing.
Besides, yeah, a lot of parity.
Like, I don't know what team's gonna win. I don't have.
It's really wide open.
It's
really
wide open.
So-
And thing in sports is like, yes, you had a good regular season, but you also have to step up now. Swimming is 0-0 right now.
It's a new season.
You know,
It's a new season. It's a new
you
season.
gotta win when it counts now. Also,
Not
you know?
easy. Listen, I was on the Marlins. We finished in first. It's not easy to run the table.
Right.
Everyone's gunning for you. You know, they want
Oh,
want
yeah.
you. You know, I know us. We want swimming, and I did a 1 seed, and we're looking if we can get past the 4-5. We are looking to play swimming.
You gotta get past the 4-5, and then I mean, you're not gonna fear them. You
Swimming
guys
is
are
an
hot.
interesting team. We played them
With 9
0-0 in the 7th inning
With 9
without,
guys.
without 9 guys, but not only the 9 guys that we didn't have. We didn't have Sammy Tawil and we didn't have Henry.
Right.
So
Solid,
2
yeah, 3
really
stars.
big bats that we feel like, worst case scenario, we split. And then in game 2, we hit Max. We scored 6 runs against Max, and it doesn't seem like he's given up 6 runs in the last 3 weeks.
By far,
So I think that they have the stars, they have the great team, they have the mojo. It's gonna take a Herculean effort to beat them, but they're not unbeatable. Like you said, it's a new season. Everything that, even like we're talking offensively, that me and Sammy did, it's over now. Farka had the greatest year of offensively
Zach,
in
to
the
me.
year ever,
Farka
and
Zach.
then Butter got swept.
Can you
what does
imagine
that
Farka
offensive year
batted
do?
100 points higher
Right,
than
right.
than you batted this year,
Yeah,
basically?
But if you don't win the playoffs, it
It
kind
goes
of
away.
goes out. So you got to have the big weeks now, and the next week is when it comes to the playoff time, the next week's always the biggest.
And let me
week.
tell you, you don't
What
win
are
with
gonna
2
do?
stars. You don't win with 3. You're not going to win with Zach and Farka.
No, it's going
Trust
to
me.
be
You
David
know you're gonna-
Rishney,
that's
and
what it's gonna be. It's
I
gonna
think
be
anyone who plays them isn't going to let. You'd be stupid to let Farka or Zach beat you.
Right, so today-
that's why Nabi is so important to that
Yeah.
team, because if he's on base, you gotta pitch to
Yeah,
Farka,
Steven-
and
So
you gotta
important.
pitch to Zach. If he's not on base, you can pitch to one of them. You
Yeah,
can walk
you
one of
never
them.
pitch to both
Right,
if
you
he's
never
not
pitch
on
to
base. Challenge
both.
Steven
And then
Bitesh beat
Steven
us.
Bitesh and David Rishney and tip your hat. If they beat you,
Let them
then
beat
they're
And
the best
Dave
team.
Haber. And
Yeah,
Dave Haber.
yeah,
was having
I
a
don't
good
even
year.
pitch to him. I walk him
Right.
too.
So today they couldn't walk Zach because it was bases loaded, 2 outs in the 5th inning,
Right.
scoreless game.
Scoreless, okay.
Scoreless game. A couple of guys on the bottom got on. They forgot. I forgot who they got out, who they got on, but they had to pitch to Zach. 2 outs. Scoreless game in the 5th.
They got to pitch him.
And bam, base hit right. They're at the middle, 2-run score. That was the game. 2-0.
Right, 2-0.
They won 2-0. That's
Wow.
all they did.
And Max is unbelievable.
Yeah,
3
Max-
shutouts in a row. That's 3
Zach
shutouts in a row.
Ashkenazi is having a phenomenal year.
But Max,
I mean,
is
he's
the
having a
story of
great
that
year,
team.
but
I mean,
Zach and him are having
3
years.
shutouts in a row in softball. When do you see that?
Almost 4 because he had 2 outs in the 7th inning today
Right.
to finish the 4 straight
wow,
shutouts.
wow.
No, he's only getting better and better.
crazy.
It's
Max
crazy.
really.
I think, you know what? He really took building motivation. You're a motivational player where every time you're going to get a hit, you're going to scream 10th around, and you
Yes,
should.
yes.
Because it builds you up and it builds the team up.
I just play
But
with
Max,
passion. I play
I
with
think
passion.
with this Nabi coming into the league 2
Yes.
years ago, and who Max's father is, the great Ike Yedid.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of is that lost player to where people can say he's great, he's very good, but his father was the greatest ever.
He's not
and you know
Nate.
what?
He's not
Even
Nate.
when he beats Nate B in the World Series, they had a great team
Right.
or something, and it doesn't really get the credit that he should have gotten when the Orioles won. And then last year he didn't have a great year, and it's like maybe it's a fluke. Maybe he got back to the World Series 3 years in a row, and maybe's the name. And I think it kind of went into that preseason, the COVID. They were having these scrimmage games. And I had Navy's team and I had Max's team. And they were very, very serious. I got to play in a couple of them.
Me too, by the way.
And Max took it as a challenge to go head-to-head against Navy. And he, you know, embraced that. I am just as good as him. It's not like I have to have the better team to compete against Navy. It's I'm 1 and you're 1A. Let's go and pick
You know what?
teams.
I give Max Yedid a
really
lot
great.
of credit. I really do, because he's living under that shadow of Navy. Navy is a star. He's a great pitcher, and he is one of the greatest pitchers. I still think Ike Yedid is the greatest of all time, but Navy is phenomenal. And but Max, I'll be honest, he's been battling. He's doing the job year in and year out. He became a phenomenal pitcher.
This year might
He's
be
a
the
great
best
pitcher.
pitching year in a decade.
It's the best pitching year I've ever seen
Yes.
in my era. The
Really?
ERA in softball is under 2. It's
Wow.
unheard of.
He deserves all the accolades.
He's unheard of.
Yeah.
But to be on the level of Ike Yedid or anybody,
Gotta close
you
the
gotta
deal.
win championships.
Yes. That's the truth.
You know?
That's
Give
the
me
truth.
one game, and I want Ike Yedid on.
And he's won champion. He's won a championship.
course.
So say, but you
Of
want to win
course.
this year to make swimming a special team.
Yeah.
You talked about it, saying you had that viral video.
Yes.
That you know, there's been teams, and me and Sammy were on a team. He didn't mention We Are Family was 12 and 2.
Yeah, Jackie Towil.
And we had Michael Beta, Jackie Towil, Stevie
Wow.
Azer, and we lost to a CTU team that had 25 replacements. So
CTU
there's no more.
went on to win the
There's no more
championship,
replacements
yes.
anymore,
Right.
and you know it is what it is. But you got to close the deal, otherwise you're a forgotten team. So,
That's right.
So let's see what they do.
Okay, so that's the story with swimming. They have the tough situation of whoever they play
Has
is
won a
going to be
game and
rolling. They're going to be jumping because they
Yeah.
Oh, they get to
They
pick the
won-
4-5 winner.
They
No,
play-
they
play
get
the
one.
4-5 winner.
Well, they don't get to
pick.
choose their opponent.
No.
They don't get to choose.
They-
Also, they're playing if we advance.
If you there,
If we
you're
advance,
playing swimming.
Yeah, or
once you
DX,
down,
or
DX.
Okay, gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the two teams playing each other on the other side of the bracket, very quietly, is this Navy team
Yes, who's tough.
who, at 7-7, instead of having to win 4 games, 7-7, he got the 3.
by losing to the worst team in the league.
Exactly.
One of the worst teams in the history of the league.
Yes.
But they showed heart and they got to win, and I'm proud of them for
Me
showing
too.
up.
That's great.
It was great. It was a nice, you know.
Did
week
they all
7
show up? They all
storyline.
showed up?
They all
For the
showed
most
up?
part, They
For
showed
the
up.
most
Good job
part.
by Sonny and
You
the
know
team.
what?
The
Got
two
team
people
back.
that didn't show up, we knew weren't showing up from before.
Were they star players?
They were, Salim had
Okay.
some thing.
That's it. I'm up with.
Who knows?
Well, you know what? Kudos to Sonny, who got his team there, and they played their heart out. And
You know what? It's Sonny. I've been
good for
very
you.
close to him, being on the committee and just talking to him. Tough year,
Yeah.
trying to hold it together.
Yeah, not
and
easy.
you know what? It was nice to see. He won and he pitched.
He pitched.
because he was the pitcher for game 1 and the pitcher for game 2,
And
which is
this team
a
came
nice
to
little
play
thing.
today, though. They were loud. They were into it.
That's all you can ask for.
And then they realized, holy cow, we could eliminate Nate B. Can you
Wow.
imagine we had a
Wow.
playoff without Nate B?
Did they have a chance to win game 2?
If it was
They
3-0
scored 3-0. They scored in 1 inning. They scored 3
It
runs
was
in
one inning.
Let me tell you, all year, very quietly, they're not one of those 0-12 teams. They had a lot of tough losses.
Four extra inning losses, Sammy.
It's obvious by the record, but this is Navy's worst team since he entered the league. In my
100%.
opinion.
I agree 100%.
He's always had the first year they stole Greenberg and Shalou, and they had an all-star team behind
Yeah.
Navy.
I still don't know
And
how they got that
because
team.
no one knew Shalou. I don't know. It just
They didn't know Shalou, is that what it was?
And Greenberg didn't go number 1 overall like he would the next 2 years. But I
Why?
think-
Why was he injured?
Because it
or
was his
something?
first year.
It was
a
his
rookie
first year.
He was
Okay,
his
so
first year.
everyone was sleeping.
Yes.
Max knew everything.
Yes, Max knows everything, and exactly. And I think that, you know, the last couple of years, he's had a really good team. And I think that, you know, this year, they gave up a lot to get him. And I spoke to Moshe and he said, why couldn't the ping pong balls just give me the number 1 pick? Why did Abady sack? I have to get it, and I had to, you know,
Right.
I would one more bat, one more player, and his team would be a lot scarier.
I didn't realize till you just said it. So Navy was traded from Navy Saka's team,
Right.
basically, and now they're facing each
Right,
other.
and they're facing each other. So you know,
That's gonna be a great
A lot of
pitching
those bats that Abady Saka has, the
Is
Zoltas
because
and the
of Navy.
Alley, and all those guys, is because Morris had to give up so much. But we'll see what's worth it. If Navy can dominate that lineup, then it was worth it to trade. If he can't, then maybe the pitcher's a little bit more overrated, and you need a stronger outfield or or something like that. Another bat. So Ruby Shalou's been a nice surprise for them, hitting like crazy.
Big surprise, and he's facing his brother, Ruby Shalou versus Steven Shalou.
Who's been the better Shalou this year? You could say Ruby has.
Ruby. Could be. He's hitting great. Then you have Maurice Haber against his son Jackie Haber.
Wow.
So, a lot of storylines.
There was another one. Oh, Nanu Zolta against Al Zolta. So you have a lot of family.
You got a great pitching matchup.
And
great pitching matchup.
Great Navy and Navy Saka.
Yes.
Wow.
But Naby's got to be going nuts that he's only, suddenly with the year he had, he's only 2 wins away from the World Series. He's like, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
2 wins against an ice-cold team.
Against an ice-cold team.
His team might not be so hot, but he's playing a team that's less hot than they, colder.
Yeah, he has a good path. You can't ask for a better path.
It's going to be a nice path.
In other words, Morris today, entering game 2, was a loss away from being eliminated, whether he knew it or not.
And now he plays a team that's
2 wins away
worse
against
off
a cold
team
team from being in the World Series.
But whoever wins that series, and whoever wins that series now has 2 wins, and you know how easy it could turn. Then they're back into it, and depending on what happens in this. If Zach keeps playing in the night league and getting hurt, who knows what swimming's going to look like if they make it to the World Series.
Farka is going to lock Zach in his house and not let him play anything anymore. That's it. He's going to keep him home because he's not happy to see continuously getting injured in these night leagues. Okay, fine. So A.B. Saka's team we're a little worried about right now.
I mean, they have the names on paper, and we played them week 1. Yeah. We thought we had game 1, and we blew it. And then game 2, they demoralized us. Yeah. They looked like a really good team.
We were winning game 1.
They have 4 real bats in Shalou, Zolta, Ali.
And one more guy. Nathan Zolta? No.
Who's they have leading up? They go Carlos first. Then they go to the big boys. Shalou.
The 4th guy would be A.B. Saka as the pitcher. They have 3 bats.
He didn't bat. He
doesn't even bat. But they have also.
They also have Teddy Braha, Aaron Cohen.
They had all those guys.
Aaron Cohen lit us up, and he came back down to earth.
He came back down to earth.
And they had Saroya.
Mo Haber got a big hit against us.
Mo Haber.
Jacob Cassidy hit the ball deep.
They're an interesting team. They got it's 1 week now. If they show up, they could win the whole thing.
Listen, any team with A.B. Saka has a chance.
A.B. Saka,
he's a gamer.
He's a bulldog on the mound.
He's a bulldog in the playoffs.
And Naby also is a guy you don't want to face.
It's a great matchup.
I don't want to face Naby in a 1-game playoff. 4-5.
No, you don't.
It's a great matchup that they're playing each other. It's great for the ratings. A lot of storylines, and it's a little bit interesting because there's a lot of interesting combinations and different things that are going to be chess pieces and moves that the captains are going to make.
Yep.
Or, who's going to... Maybe is leading the league in RBIs through 5 weeks. So that team, not only is he hitting, he's pitching, and they have is their outfield defense going to finally come to haunt them, or is Bub holding on the fort? He did it for a whole year.
Bub's not the issue there. They're corner outfield. Go figure.
Right.
But Naby's really, Morris is going to step up, playoff Morris.
He's a gamer. Morris is a gamer.
Yeah, but I've been waiting for Morris to hit a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think that in the playoffs the last couple of years, the Maccabees, he made a great over-the-shoulder catch.
Crazy catch.
But his bat, in order for him to... there's guys that are his age. Ali's doing it. There's guys older than him. Sammy Tawil. To him to be the guy, and he was the guy for 20 years. The Shamah I know is the greatest player.
Yeah.
He's, the Babe Ruth of YMSL.
Yeah.
So if he comes and can find some magic, he's dynamic on the base paths. He takes over the game defensively like no one else.
Yep.
And to have him and Naby, that's it. All you need to do is win. If Morris wakes up and Naby's on the mound, they can win the whole thing.
But Naby's going to need some run support. He's going to need some run support.
It's too much pressure, I think, to put on these pitchers where you have to give up 0.
Yeah, 2-1.
And that's a little bit that scares me with swimming. Max, you have to give up 0 because we're going to score 1 run.
But Max has embraced that pressure. Naby always has embraced it, but I don't think they're scoring for him that much. I think he's got to face the fact that
that's
they're
it.
not
You got to put up
6.
zeros. You got to put up a 0, and he did it in game 2 today when the back was against the wall.
He did.
He gave up 0.
He did. But Mo Shamah mortgaged his whole team to get you, Naby.
Yeah.
You got to come through this.
He's got to carry the
Sunday.
team, 100%.
Now he's got to carry you.
Now,
the regular season is one.
This is why he made the trade for now.
But he's
now.
you know what?
Exactly.
Maybe
he made it for now.
If we're going based on history, has shown that this is what he does. He does. You know what? And he does carry from now. He's been in the World Series 3 years in a row for his 3 years in the league, and he's trying. He thinks right now he's staying at home right now, saying we're going to make it 4 in a row. He's got the easy road.
But their offense
it all
is
broke
not
out, and they got the luck already. They got the luck. They got the 3 seed, and they're playing the cold team, and he's laughing to the bank. Let's go. So it may happen again.
But the big question is their offense. Like Sammy's saying, the big question is for anything. Can this team score?
Yeah, they don't have a lot of offense. We played them.
It might be tough to say you're going to give up 0 to look out. As bad as they might be playing, their offense, the names, you're going to give
I
up
think
0.
it's going to be. I think it's going to be a pitcher's duel. I think a team's going to win 4-1, 3-2.
Okay.
That's going to. Who's the pitcher that's going to win the game? That's about
okay.
What do you want to say about Arizona, captained by JT? They did not make the playoffs. JT's record without his co-champion Dano as a captain has been very, very suspect. Now I know this is your nephew, and I know this is you came up with that great center field clash with JT and AB Cohen and everything.
Right. So JT's a talented player. We know that. Some of his draft moves, and I've got people that come to me and will tell me, they roll their eyes and they'll say, "What was he thinking?" He overanalyzes, he analyzes for weeks, and he comes to the draft more prepped than anybody in the history of captain. But then he'll make moves that people say, what? They'll storm out of the draft room. They'll say, what are you thinking? I know. He thinks he knows it. And I think this year, if you look at the way he drafted, I think if you look back, he probably regretted a couple of the moves he made.
I think it's interesting because the one move I questioned was Jeffrey Saka.
Right.
But he was the best pick.
He was awesome.
So you know
Jeffrey
what?
pitched great.
Jeffrey pitched great, and he pitched great against me. He got it, the walking me intentionally, not letting me swing.
Jeffrey
and then game 2,
great.
I'm swinging at bad pitches because I don't know how many I'm going to see. So he probably pitched the best against me this year. And mentally, that kind of took me out.
Wow.
So giving him credit for that. But I also think that, you know what, as captains, and I was a little bit this way, and I kind of maybe stepped back from captain because of it, you align yourself with certain players. I, as a captain, wanted to take Mark Bra. He's my friend. He's going to be my shortstop. And I think JT builds his team around Jordy. And he's a great player, Jordy. But sometimes you got to just it's refreshing to play with Joe Eschko this year for me. I played with Mark for 20 years. And now just playing with a new face and a new, playing with Jake and Joe has shown me that, you know what? Yes, I felt like if you don't win with Jordy, you have unfinished business, you want to bring the same team back. But sometimes it's not good. It's not good. Even though you both have great seasons, there's something to it that I think that JT, has a hard time not picking Jordy. It's his friend. And they both play good, so you're saying, why shouldn't it work? But there's something behind the scenes different where there's Jordy's in the infield and trying to be more vocal as the captain. Mm-hmm. And then JT's going to run into from center field and say, I didn't say to walk the guy, put the guy back at the home plate, and they can't get it together.
I think the best thing we did, the best thing as a committee was no people co-captaining together.
Yeah, I love that.
People didn't love it in the beginning. It works out great.
It really does.
And we don't make any exceptions. Even for you and your son, you want to be with them. I told you, Sammy, they're both in the draft. Whoever gets picked first, tell them to pick the other one.
And we did that.
And you know what? Maurice Haber's playing against his son.
Yeah.
And, Zolta's playing against his brother this week. And you get to play against each other also.
Lee didn't have a great year. He'll be the first to admit it. And he took him early. So that might be one of the suspect picks, but track record shows he's a great second baseman and he probably hits 150 points higher on his worst season up until this season. So that'll hurt an offense.
If you redraft the draft right now, you'd be amazed how many good/bad picks there are that would just change. For instance, Lee. I think he's going down next year. Yes. And on the other hand,
Cohen, I think.
Down.
I think down.
Great Dwight's got to be a first round pick. Shimmy. Up.
Right.
I don't know what round.
Stocks are definitely.
Right.
You'll just see. Nussy, that guy Nussy is a great.
Nobody wanted John. They were all passing on John.
Right. I think Mark and Gabe go behind John
down
this year, right?
Yeah,
100%. I think
John had a better year than both of them.
Yeah. For Solly. Wow. I told you, take Solly right there. You get me. Can you imagine that team now with me and Solly? On the team with Lee, Jordy, and Jackie Tawil.
They really needed you on that team.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone realized the year he was
let's say fairness. I don't even know.
But you know what? He's still a big guy in the batter's box.
Arizona's got to be killing them. They threw away a couple of games. To not make the playoffs by one game, one more times in the playoffs from that one game,
with
and
the
they're out
bye,
of the playoffs from that one game, and that's how crazy the YMSL is. You can't, I'm telling my team, focus has to be every single inning because we were up 4-1 in the fifth, sweeping DX and cruising, and then we go back into the clubhouse and we're down 5-4, scrambling for our season.
Yeah.
Because you can't let, especially with 5 teams making the playoffs, you have to have that focus.
It's a short season.
Playoff intensity. We were feeling it at 1-3.
1-3, we said, urgency.
You were really so we've been in that mode, but it's hard. It's hard to keep that focus for 14 innings, and I think Arizona Diamondbacks know better than most teams.
No, they had it down here.
To put it together for 14 innings. And it's not even
Jeffrey pitched his butt off. So
it wasn't because of Jeffrey. Jeffrey gave them more
he
than
might
they
have been the
expected.
second best pitcher this year.
But JT had a great year this year.
And I just said Jackie was in the city.
But then he falls, tagging up to win a game. He was tagging up, and he ended up losing that game.
And the first game,
the 10th or 11th inning, he fell
So they
down.
blew 2 games that
You can't lose.
They win in their a normal team, normal break, win in their sleep.
A normal break, you win in your sleep. That's 2
Lisa
right
Carey
there.
made an error in the first
That
game
was
of the
the first
season.
one,
Second game of the season that cost them 4 runs. And Jackie Tao falls down to 2 best players, 2 first
Crazy.
bases.
Yeah, Lee is usually a perennial all-star second baseman. And talking about second base, the guy that's really playing phenomenal quietly.
Jackie Eshko.
Really?
The guy is playing
Eshko is awesome.
phenomenal. You
He's
talk
a
about
gamer
50-year-old
and defense, and he's a gamer, and he's an energizer bunny, and he comes with the gas.
Yeah.
You gotta
You
embrace
have to
it.
be able to manage and embrace the gas.
Yes.
You know, like
the team.
But he has guys like me and Henry on
he
team.
wants to, whispering he wants to pitch, through 2 balls in a row. You're not pitching, relax, just play shorts, play second base.
But he's playing great.
And he's playing great, and he's great for our team.
He wants to be a captain next year.
Yeah.
Coming with a coach, Jackie Pachotto. He wants Pachotto.
The Hillel connection, right? They're both the coaches of Hillel.
He was talking about pitching. He wants to pitch, actually.
I like the idea of captains that don't even play. Just let Peaches be a captain.
Jamal,
Let
Nathan,
Chucky be a captain and
Nathan,
draft.
Right. I love that.
It's interesting. It should be.
And let me tell you, I love having Chucky Abady there. He was there today. It makes a difference.
The best.
Chucky.
The best. Why he wasn't coaching
Gotta keep
third, I
playing.
don't know. We were sitting on the beach.
He was,
I'm going for Road Dog.
Yes, a little cowboy for Road Dog. Okay, fine. Now it gets very exciting because we're down to, I guess, 6 teams now. That's going to very quickly go down to 4 teams. And by next Sunday at this time, you could be down to 2 teams. You could be down to 2 teams in a week.
Right.
So it gets
It's like
rapid
March
now.
Madness. This is madness.
Boom. It's like tournament style now.
Well, you got to understand now the 6-5 matchup. Whoever comes out of that 4-5-6 means they won a game. Obviously, they're going to be playing swimming.
Yes, they're going to be on a high.
Do we know when they're playing yet?
We don't know yet. We're working feverishly on it
bet,
and overtime.
Okay.
We are really trying hard.
we don't know
what's
if we're
fun.
playing-
You know what's
we
fun
playing
about the playoffs is these isolated games where the whole league gets to come together
We
and
need
watch.
it.
Let me
these
tell you, the
games,
Friday afternoon
and
game
you
is
bring
the
your beach
best
chairs,
game in
and
the
everyone's down by the right field line and in the playground. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun still being
Like
in
the
it.
Friday 4 o'clock game. I don't care what I always
Yeah.
watch. I want to play in that game. We're going to be playing that game. And there's nothing like it. Everybody comes.
Yeah,
They come
prime
from
time.
work. They come from the beach.
the
They come
best.
from Mazza. Wherever they come from. All the kids come, and it's lines of people. And they love that Friday game.
There's nothing like the Friday games. I remember certain Friday games. There's nothing like winning a Friday game.
People that are out have the edge, just want to
That's
watch
the best.
baseball.
It's usually the swing game in a series,
Yes.
the third game
Yes.
or the clinching game.
Yeah.
So
We will
they're
have,
big
by the way,
games.
as we go on, let's say we play the semis on next Sunday, and there's a game 3, that's going to be on a Friday.
Right.
If we have 2 sweeps, we could start the World Series on that Friday.
Love it.
So we're good. We have no time.
People want
Right.
Listen,
So we
there's
want to
nothing
utilize
doing
it.
Friday afternoon. People want something to do.
Yeah.
And this gives them something to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, like what the league is doing now, is you're playing on Fridays. Where in the past, if you say you're playing on Fridays, people will make an effort to get there.
Yes.
But when you give the guy the out,
Last minute.
then
No,
Bobby's
I'm
saying you
Brooklyn,
can play
I'm
whenever
working.
you want to play, and then
Yeah.
one guy, we're gonna hold it for one guy. That guy could come if you make it like they're playing without you.
Right.
Everyone's gonna show up and be there. So I think it's it's
I
nice
agree.
that the league makes it a sense of urgency to play on the Fridays because the players love it.
You need
That
it.
This
kind of-
year, we really had no choice with
Yes.
Corona, when we
Yes.
started, and when Rosh Hashanah is, with all the Sundays or holidays in September.
Yes.
So it's not like just let it go.
No, you have a deadline.
And you said it from the beginning, so that
We
was
said it from the
clear.
beginning, and let me just address today, because that's really what went into effect this morning, was we really don't have time. I didn't play it the best I could have, for sure. We should have just started at 8. and just
Right.
played through the rain. I wish we did that. We would have been done before the rain really started coming.
But you
down.
did a great job.
You
It
know?
wasn't easy.
Yeah, I think to get the games in
You-
today at
the
all,
fact that you
I
got the
texted
games
you right
in,
after.
yeah.
You
And
know,
me too.
and it might have been the ones who knock us saying I texted you right after because we swept and we were feeling good. But I think that. You know what? It was also Hashem. The weather laid out perfect. It could have been, you know what? It could have rained and it might have been too bad. We would have had to stop the games. It would have been a mess. But it wasn't. It never got to where it was really unplayable too hard and puddles. There was no puddles on the
Nothing.
field.
Fields were great. Fields
So
were great.
it was, you know, the ground crew got there from yesterday and did a great job. We showed up. The field was raked and there was some quick drive by third base.
Better than ever.
And there was the lines were down. And it was, you know, ready to play. So
We
it
saw
was
this in the
great that we had
forecast
it.
from a while ago. We knew the fields were going to be beautiful, but the forecast just kept getting worse. Saturday
Yeah, I
night, it
saw
looked
it.
bad. But when we said, okay, delay, and when I said delay, I meant like, be ready all day because we have to try anything to get it in. Maybe I shouldn't have. I wrote times just to say like we may play as late as
But
one.
I knew it was going to get worse.
I
and
never
worse.
meant only at
Right.
1 or
Henry
11.
went back to sleep, almost missed the game.
Exactly. So my apologies on that. However, after I sent the original delay, I counted it with my nephew Saul. 31 players texted me, "We want to play.
Right.
We want to play."
I think the players
We
wanted to play
Yeah,
today.
Everyone was dying.
And I
to
think
play.
everyone knows that we don't have the rain date. So
You don't have
you know
the
what?
date.
If there's no, if lightning, we're off the field.
Of course.
So no lightning, a little bit of rain.
No puddles. Nothing.
You know what? And we kind of lucked out because the firehouse is a sun, you know, it's a desert when the sun's out and there's, you know, really, really hot. So to play on that field today with the cloud coverage, even if it's raining, is a kind of, you know, it's an easy day on that field because usually you don't get it. You're there and it's the Sahara Desert.
For sure. Well, you live and learn, and Bobby always told me, he goes, you're much better off when it's just pouring, because then, like last year, we had 2 rainouts in a row. It was neither of you played. It was a nightmare because it was right after Passover. So we didn't play. We didn't play 2 weeks of Passover, and then 2 weeks in a row we had torrential, non-negotiable.
Bobby was the
rain.
king of the sunny day right now.
Yes,
Also.
yes.
So he has a lot of.
But he always said the
He got a
hardest
lot of
thing
flack
is
for
this
that.
iffy half rain or whatever. And like you said, God hooked us up. It stayed good until the end of the day. So, well, guys, good luck in the playoffs. This is it. This is going to be so exciting.
I think it's a lot of parity. I really do. And I think that 6-5-6 matchup, I think it's
And
going to be
then
a
the fourth
great
round,
game.
One game is
I
exciting.
really think, and I tell you the truth, I love the team we played today, the one who knocks.
Yeah.
I think they're very deep. They go to 10 in
What do
the
you
back.
think they're playing DX? Who do you think's good? Who do you think? We
I-
played them the last 2 weeks.
You know what? Right now, I have to give the edge. It'll be a great game. I have to give the edge to the ones who knock.
The ones who knock. You?
I think the same thing. I think even though we
They have a
handled
long
them a little
lineup. No,
bit
they have
better
a long
today,
lineup.
I thought they were the better team. But you know what? DX is the harder team. So there's the better team on paper win or the harder team. I'm gonna go with the ones who knock, but you know what? It's a challenge to Ralph Hannon because that's the question mark.
The
I don't think
million-dollar
it's
question,
I think
will
it's
Ralph
up to him.
Hannon show
If
up?
he plays, this team could win the World Series because
he's that good.
their
He's
team
good.
is that good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe today he gets a little bit of a pass because the comebacker hurt his hand and he was hurt. I saw it and he was
Well,
in pain.
how's that going to affect him? Is he
You know,
gonna-
7 days. Zach heals in 2 days. So you know
Zach-
what? You
Zach
gotta
is
have
14 years old.
Yeah, you gotta have that mutant blood and heal up. But I think that it's a lot of pressure on Ralph. But that's, you know what? When you're chasing your first championship, they've all gone through it. The great Jeffrey Saka took him a while to get his first
a lot
one.
of pressure.
And Max took him a while to get his first one. But when you win your first one, it solidifies you into a class of your own. And you never have to answer that question again.
Never.
I was telling Leo today, you're the only pitcher with a ring on his finger from last year.
That's it.
So have that confidence going
Yes.
through this postseason
Yes.
that you're the guy to beat.
Yeah.
And you know, so that's the mindset that we're going with. That Leo's the pitcher to beat because he didn't get beat last year.
Look out versus one more time.
Look out versus
2 out of
one more
3
time.
series starting
That is
Sunday.
a great series. I think it's going to come down to pitching. 2 gamers, 2 big-time pitchers. AB Sackett comes to play when the chips rise, and Nate B is Nate B. I like. That's a close.
You couldn't cook up a better series. This is awesome.
I think Lookout has a little more hitters.
He's the equalizer. So
Yeah,
does it go
maybe
3
the
games?
equalizer.
I don't even know.
I think it goes 3 for sure, and I think it's going to be us. Wow. Oh my God.
I think I learned.
I don't know. What do
you don't
think?
pick against Nate B in the early rounds. Maybe
might.
in the World Series. you pick
No,
against them.
it's gonna go game 3. I can tell you that.
Well, that's going to be on a Friday then. That's
Yeah,
next
and
Friday.
and hopefully, if I'm not playing, I'll watch that game. But like you said, maybe one game, game 3, maybe lead, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Prediction.
I'd have to maybe go.
Flip the coin.
Yeah, in extra innings, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe an extra innings in game 3. You.
I'm gonna go Nate B also. I think that I haven't seen him, really be phased in the playoffs. He's played close games. He's played teams that I thought were better. He's lost in the World Series, but the road to the World Series and who they're playing, I think maybe if they're playing, even if they're playing DX, I may say that DX is a hotter team and they can hit, but they're playing the right. Looks like they got the right matchup. They got the 3 seed some way. The stars aligned for this team one more time. And Shamah, it's his last year. He's a Hall of Fame player. He's not going to want to go out so easily. And you know what? I expect him to bring it. I think that they may be a team that can get hot.
Yeah.
Just one more player. I think that I was talking to preseason. That kind of felt like me and him were in the same boat where we got picked and doubted. And Ali Marshall had a great year.
Yeah.
Ali Marshall had
The great
super
Ali
year.
Marshall.
The great Ali Marshall. You know what? And I think that he may have one something to say about this, because if Look Out is going to do anything, as much as how great as Steven Shalou is and as great as Nathan Zolta is, Ali Marshall is going to have to be their scariest weapon. For them to advance, and I think he may be. He had a phenomenal year, and we were talking before the season, 2 guys, who's going to win comeback player of the year. He had a down year, I was hurt, and then maybe we both be on the MVP ballot.
Wow.
Who would think?
I think that's going to be a question. It's great. Mo Shamah versus Ali,
It's
the 2
unbelievable.
best players. There's so many storylines in that game.
But Steven Shalou he was picked, the first pick?
Yeah, up
He's
there.
going to have to now show why he's picked first. He's going to have to come play. It's not how,
Ruben Shalou had a better year.
but Steven Shalou was still, he was
statistically.
picked first in the draft. He's got to show why he was picked first.
Wow.
And that Navy against him is a great matchup.
It's a great matchup. I'm so excited to see these games.
Nothing like YMSL playoff.
This is it.
Not that. We have
And it got here so quickly also.
And let me tell you,
great 7 weeks.
Yeah, really did. Kudos to you guys. Did a great job.
It was a nice we got a summer season in. It was, it feels
Weather
a little
was
bit
great
weird where
overall.
the summer's coming to an end and we played the whole summer, but it's really going to be an exciting finish. I'm very
This whole
excited. to see
year
how
is
it
weird
plays
in
out.
general.
Whole year is
And there's going to be one team that's going to be that iconic team. Who's
I
gonna
hope
be
if we
the
can
team?
get past the 4-5. I know we were talking about. We're looking forward to playing swimming because, like I said, we only had 9 guys on the game 1 and it went to 0-0. I think if I'm there and Henry's there and Solly's there, I think we would. It's fair to say we would win at least split.
Yeah, and I think if we're able to win the 4-5 game, we don't want to overlook that game, but we'll have 3 wins in a row and 4 out of our
And
last
our
five.
lineup.
You can't even overlook it because you don't even know who you're playing.
Right,
So
right.
you can't even
overlook
insult
it.
So
anybody.
we're gonna be really looking to play that role as the hot team. I know we had in the clubhouse. Norman picked us to get swept this week.
Yes, that was on the bulletin board.
which was big.
Yeah.
And I know when swimming used that against us. I think Bub picked us to sweep them. We had 9 guys, and they were screaming, the show and all that. So there's a lot goes into these picks, and a lot of anyone's just looking for something to scream about.
Yes.
So we'll see, and hopefully we can take it to whoever we play.
I think we're clicking now, and I think Jack and I and Eshko and
Jake
There's so
and
many
Henry.
guys on your team.
No, we have a 6. I'd say our 6.
Yeah, top 6.
What are you doing with the lineup right now? Quickly.
Jackie Eshko's 1, Jake's 2, I'm 3, Joe Eshko's 4, Sammy's 5, Hank is 6.
So you put Jackie Eshko 1. Is that
Yeah.
you?
Just 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
Two
ago.
weeks ago. Because that extends
I
everyone
think
else.
he's been getting on base,
Yeah.
but I think the head was to get me up with a few more men on. It makes it harder for people to walk me, and if they do walk me, Joe Eshko, if it's up to him. He's the captain, putting bases loaded in his hands, and he came through today. And then when he comes through, Sammy's coming through every single time with another hit.
I can't tell if your team hates each other or loves each other because I saw Joe Eshko hit a home run last week, and he touches home plate and goes to give the high fives. No one's like, "Wow, great shot!" Everyone it's about time. Oh, you woke up.
We love each other, but we hold like a
You have to
family. You gotta hold each other
5 and
accountable.
7. You have to win 4 and 6.
I think we keep each other accountable to say that we're not gonna,
say how great we are when the record is what the record is. So we have to
We're
earn
not
it every
tired of
week.
that whole cold-blooded, we're loaded, Hall of Famers, All-Stars
Yeah.
at every position. But I said, guys, enough with that. So maybe we had a little chip there, but it's a great group of guys. And really, the truth is, it's one of the nicer teams that I played on. And great, we just really, like I said, Raw Dog came back into the fold. He's a heart and soul of the team.
He's great.
And Mike Cheer is a great guy.
Great.
DK.
Great.
Bobby Cassin's been watching. I'd love to see him at the games.
Yeah, Bobby and Chucky, I'm telling you, it's got a lot of untouchables feel
Yeah.
to it. But the thing, so you guys are hot right now, you're feared right now, but you could get picked off in just one game.
Absolutely.
That's the
That's
crazy thing about
the
all
crazy
this.
thing.
Listen,
You
one
don't
game,
learn
anything
anything.
can happen.
You know?
Anything could happen.
We
It's
didn't
one
earn
inning,
it.
one play could ruin the whole thing.
You could be down 4-0 after the first inning and then come back.
And you gotta have that focus. I mean, today in game one, they had one in and bases loaded, and Leo got out of it. It could have been 4-0
Yeah.
before we even got up.
Right.
Yes. No, he put it
And then
first.
who knows what the day was like? If we go down 4-0, even though we
There's an
proved that we
urgency.
can
There's
score,
an urgency
you
in
know
that
what?
one game where from the first inning, the first batter, it's like you're playing the seventh inning.
Well, I've said it a million times, softball, like life, you gotta have the good in the long term, but also gotta step up when it counts. So we're gonna see which team can do that over the next 2 weeks, let's say, and we're gonna have a champion before we know it. Maybe it's these guys, maybe it's somebody else. We'll see. I want to thank Jack Abady. I want to thank Sammy Tawil. What a show! What a season these guys are having. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
And well, good luck to all the teams that are going to be playing this week.